synchronicity films, which has been, it looks very successful, but it isn't. Well, it is successful. I put the comma in the wrong place. I was going to say, it isn't easy.
Yes, I've made it all up. It is not easy. No. I remember Nancy Braid, who was formerly head of production and business at BBC Scotland, responsible for delivering, initiating the growth in nations and regions way back in the mists of time. I'm embarrassed to say 1995 or 96 maybe. And when I stayed at the BBC for 10 years and I loved it, but I closed my eyes one day and I thought, I think I want to do this for myself. I think I want to open an indie. Nobody's making drama in Scotland from Scotland. Where are the Scottish scripted production companies? There were lots of film producers, but there was no one making television. So naively, I thought, I'll do that. So, went to Nancy Braid, told her of my great big plan, said, I think I'm going to go. I had a full-time job. I would have had a final salary pension by now. I could have had a long career in the BBC, and she was like, you're mad. It's going to take you at least 6 years and £500,000 to get this off the ground. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'll have a commission in 6 months. So it's 2025, and I set up the company in 2006, and it was a long old road, so it's tough. But if you really want to build sustainability in an area, you have to, I think, you have to build it from the inside out. And I also think that's how good, authentic portrayal and representation is best developed, from the inside out. Yeah. I'll give you an example. Graham Armstrong's The Young Team. Yep. Possibly the most important book to come out of Scotland since Trainspotting. I'm saying this in every opportunity I get. But I'm still amazed by how many people outside of Scotland, or even outside of Glasgow, don't know about this book and how important it is to young people between the ages of 16 and 24 who are socially, economically deprived. And to me, the fact that we are sitting in an office in Govan and we are looking, because we're committed first and foremost to Scottish talent, Scottish stories, Scottish voices, not exclusively, because we also make international shows like the Tattoos of Auschwitz and The Cry.
That's the other thing, you don't pigeon.
No, and that's a really important thing that we should come to. But, the fact that we're sitting there, we're just closer to material that, not by dint of any, great genius or anything, it's just because we are in the place, we're of the place, and therefore we're more likely to find jewels and gems that you might not find in other parts of the country if you're, not
and to
there.
that point, you'll find the jewels and the gems, and it will be, by and large, people resident in Scotland who will be the DOPs, who will be the directors eventually. Because it's the point is that you don't grow the sector unless you grow everything in the sector, everything in the production.
Well, the fact
and you don't fly in someone that's regarded as an A-list director just because somebody says, I just don't think there's the talent in Scotland. There's only Douglas McKinnon.
I think the thing is, look, it's a people business, right? And creative people want to work with other creative people that they trust, they admire, they know can deliver. Wherever possible, I think if it's just inevitable that you'll look to your own networks first and foremost. But I think that that there is a tripwire there as well, which is that you don't want representation to become a ceiling of the things that companies in the nations and regions can do. And, we don't consider ourselves a Scottish company. We're just a company
in Scotland
with an address in
Scotland.
Can I pick up on that point? I think we all know that we hire people that make us feel confident, because it's a really frightening thing making a television program.
Yes.
And everyone will have been involved in a program that goes wrong, and you never want to go back there. But that speaks exactly to what you were saying, is why these things, the creation of companies and sectors outside of London needs to be organic. Because your sector, your network, is a Scottish network. Yeah. The London dominance has been so difficult to shake is because those networks have followed people who've come to regions and come to nations. That sense, I mean, I still hear people talk about a London producer, as if that is a different species, a different level of skill set. Yeah. And I've been in, I live in Bristol, I work in Bristol, my company's based in Bristol. I have been in discussions where somebody said, we need a London producer for this.
I've been in discussions too with that as well. Yeah.
Kirsty, can I just come back
Yes.
to on what you were saying, Claire, about you being one of the first scripted indies in Scotland and coming from Wales and worked in the industry there for a long time. Before, there's an incredible scripted community and talent and writers and directors and actors in Wales. And actually, I think when Doctor Who came to Wales 20 years ago, I can't quite remember, it was brilliant. It expanded, but the talent was already there. A lot of the people who went on to work on Doctor Who were from, I started on Pobl y Cwm, the Welsh language soap opera. They were all working there. Yep. They had the ability. They grew it, they expanded and trained people up, but it wasn't this kind of miracle that happened overnight. There's a deep passion and a lot of people working there who now are making huge contributions. Yeah. But I think there is still a problem that writers and directors are often not from where shows are made.
I think
can I just bring in this statistic? Mm-hmm. Last year, only 5 of the top 15 Scottish producers by hours commissioned for BBC were headquartered in Scotland. The remaining 10 were headquartered in London. Is that a healthy position to be in?
I think there's a couple of things about it, that lots of production companies, for all sorts of reasons, have parent companies that exist elsewhere. And that's understandable. I love that, Claire has built her company from scratch and is holding on to it, but that's not always the case. What we're looking for in the BBC, and the second thing about it is the hours point, because a lot of what we make is, high cost, lower hours. The hours stuff is not quite representative of what we're doing. But I do think that what we're looking for is companies
that doesn't publish the value side of the equation. The BBC doesn't tell us that.
Well, we publish what we spend. We don't publish it on individual things for commercial reasons, obviously. But what we have is companies who are absolutely committed to being here, that feel Scottish, that have big Scottish bases, that are hiring a lot of Scottish people, that are working on content that feels absolutely of the place and portrayal. They may have a parent company elsewhere, and we don't distinguish against those things. We're not going to punish somebody because they have a company that's based elsewhere.
You won't be able to make a commitment, because and I want to come on to the second part of the idea of what that commitment might be now. But just on the point, for example, and there's been this big row about Traitors. Mm-hmm. Where do you stand? You've got a deal now that Traitors has to invest, has to grow talent in Scotland, because they've got a massive contract.
Yeah, and they are. The thing with Traitors is that it's a particular format where there probably wasn't that expertise in Scotland when they started. That is different from something like, we don't make those kind of reality programmes until recently. Now we do.
But we do.
Now we do. But there wasn't a Traitors type format before. In drama, that is different, and we make a lot of programmes where, for example, Shetland, a company which is not based here, but we spend 6 months of the year in Shetland. We employ a lot of people. It's absolutely end-to-end Scottish.
But I think the idea, I just got to pause for a minute, because the idea that we don't have people in Scotland that can make a reality show until Traitors came along is actually quite extraordinary, because of course we do, because people work on all different kinds of shows.
Yeah,
and people have got talents that are able to move on from a reality show to a game show. I mean, if you are a production manager, or if you are a spark, or if you are someone that makes carpentry in one of these castles, of course people can adapt.
Yeah, and people are adapting, and the number is growing. So, Traitors is a great success. It's clearly Scottish. It's bringing huge amounts of money into the economy, and, that there is a risk that, Traitors could be made anywhere. It's brilliant that it's being made in the Highlands, and I'm very, very glad to have it. But we are developing the talent through that. We're putting in trainees, we're developing people through the system, and as the series go through, you'll get more and more Scottish people working on it.
And that's all levels in Traitors. That's like execs, senior producers, everybody.
It's going through the system.